Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the women in the house, to all the mothers in the house, to the grandmothers in the house, even to the men in the house. Because I know that for men, you're either celebrating your wife, your sister, your mother, your grandmother, a female colleague. There are women around you. So happy Mother's Day to every one of us. It's such a privilege to be alive at this time, and it's such a privilege to be a mother or to be a woman or to know a wonderful woman. So it's a privilege and a great honor to be talking to us this morning. I should be there in person, but I didn't want to take a risk, so I have been given a very wonderful task to speak with us this morning. But before I go on, I just like to appreciate the management of Toddlerstown School. I think it's a good time to just stop and appreciate the management, the staff, the instructors, the teachers. They are doing a good job, and if you can't put your hands together for them, I like you to put your hands together for them, for the wonderful job that they are doing, for taking care of our children, for looking out for our children, for truly loving our children. We go about our businesses, we go about our jobs, our lives, and we entrust our children into their hands, and they are doing a good job through the service that they render. Thank you so much for what you do, for all that you do. Thank you very much. So my name is Seyi. Oniyide. I'm Fikaya's mommy. So I've just been given a brief assignment. It's an important one to talk about the role of the 21st century mom. So I am a mom. I'm a PR practitioner. I work with Lagos State government, and I'm a business consultant also. So first of all, who is a mom? And maybe one or two children will say, what is a mom? Who is a mom? We all do have mothers. Some of us still have mothers alive. Some of us, our mothers have passed on. Some of us met our grandmothers. Some of us didn't meet our grandmothers, but some of us have met beautiful women. Some of us have wonderful women as friends. And I think that any woman can translate or transform into a wonderful mom. So being a mom, it's an assignment given to us by God, and it's not a task that just anybody can jump into. So I'd rather like to talk about motherhood. So motherhood cannot even be defined. With the way things are now, we cannot, use one word to define motherhood. Motherhood is listening, is sacrificing, is leading, loving, laughing, living in the moment. And I read somewhere that motherhood is worrying. As much as, I don't subscribe to worrying and agitation and anxiety, but, as mothers, we do a lot of that. Once in a while, it's you just think about your child or your children and hope that everything is well. And I think that we can stop a bit and say we are doing a good job, because if you are a mom, once or twice you stop in your tracks and you kind of ask yourself, am I doing a good job? Am I doing what I should be doing? Am I a good mother? But regardless of the level where we are, regardless of how we are feeling right now, regardless of the compliments we have gotten and the ones we haven't gotten, I think that we should receive a pat on the back, a hug on our shoulders, and accept the fact that we are doing a good job. We are doing a good job. I'd like you to just look at the person beside you and say, you are doing a good job. Thank you for being a great mom. Thank you for being a great mother. So you see, that constant feeling of guilt, some people define it as being a mother. You see, in a situation where maybe things happen that is not so good to a child, they want to ascribe it to the mother, and sometimes, or a lot of times, they ask the mother, what are you looking at? What were you thinking of? Where were you? You can almost say that's the life of a mother, because you have been assigned the responsibility of nurturing, of birthing, of raising another human being, which is a very important task. I'm not going to be dealing with the do's and don'ts of succeeding as a mother in this century. I like to tell you that, whether you're a traditional mom or a modern mom or a stay-at-home mom or a career mom, as long as you are a mother, as long as you are raising children, look, we all do face the same challenges. We all do face different situations that requires help. We have tasks to be done every day, and that that without the help of a supreme being, you can't do it. So my focus today is that there are trends, there are the happening moms, and it's okay to be trendy, it's okay to be modern, it's okay to be whatever it is that you desire. But my focus today is that you be a godly mom. Because there are times, there are situations, there are days you are not going to be there for your child. You're not going to be able to tell your child, this is the right decision to take, this is the right path to take, this is the way to go. That child needs to be able to look up to the supreme being, which is God. That child needs to be able to say, look, I have seen my mom, I have seen my parents model this. I think that if I go this way, this is the better way. Because you yourself, over the years, must have been leaning on a pillar, must have been leaning on God. So that's my focus today. To be that mother, to be that woman, to be that nurturer who relies solely on God. It's very important to place the spirituality of our children, of course, because we know that our children didn't come from us. Ask a woman, ask a mother who's waited to bear a child. That's when you know that it's not the coming together of a man and a woman that makes a child. If it does, then every woman that lays with a man should have a child. So if it's not automatic, when you have yours, you know that it's a miracle that God has placed in your hands. And that is another life that you have been entrusted with to raise. So the outcome of that child, the result, the future of that child is in your hands. So you know that it's beyond wearing fashionable clothes. It's beyond paying school fees. It's beyond doing the best things. All of these things are important. All of these things are important. But at the end of the day, how do you guarantee how the child will turn out? That's my focus today. As much as I don't have time to deal with, specifics, I just like us to evaluate every time and say to ourselves, I hope I am doing what I am supposed to be doing for this particular child. Some of us have more than one children. They are not all the same. They are not all purposed to do the same thing. And so as human beings, we are too limited in our own understanding and our own wisdom to know the purpose, the entirety of a child. So your own connection as a mother to God is important. Is important. If you're well connected, then it's easy for inspiration, for guidance to flow through you to your child. I hope that we understand that even though we are mothers, we are caretakers. We are not the owners of these children. That is why it is important to get our priorities right as a woman and as a mother. Our priorities need to be sharpened by God. Look, if not, like I said, you will jump on every trend. You will compare, you will compete unnecessarily. These things keep women up at night. How that your child is the best in class, your child has the best clothes, has the best what do you call it, device. That all of these things are good when they are well regulated. But at the end of the day, I have seen children well nurtured, taken care of. They have the best of things, and years after, their parents cannot sleep with two eyes closed. It means that these assignments cannot be executed by logic or by self. So today, being a 21st century mom requires that you have a lot to do. Look, I actually saw a quote that says that, the children that are born in this age and time are born into challenges, which also says that as a mother, we are birthing, we are raising, we are nurturing children in one of the most challenging times. So it is not rock and roll as usual. This is a time where your children are out there and you have to constantly be on your toes. You are raising a girl child. You know what you're supposed to do. You know that you can't sleep with two eyes closed. You're raising a boy child. You know these are the things that, considering the things that are happening now. So you can't do it alone. There's a lot to do. As a career mom, you've got work, you've got husband, you've got family, you've got life purpose, and then you've got children to raise. Only you. You can't do it in your own strength. And that's why I'm hammering on your functional relationship with God. It's important. It's important so that you will not be tired, so that you will not fall, so that you will not be frail, so that you will not give up, right? So my sisters in the house, the mothers in the house, the women in the house, this is a call. This is a call to evaluate ourselves and our spiritual work with our God, because logic doesn't work any longer. So some of the things we learned growing up, you can't entirely use it to raise a child in this generation. Okay, so I'm just going to mention a few things that we can, put our minds to, even as we take this journey, walk this motherhood journey in this century. The first thing is that seek knowledge. Seek knowledge. You must know a little thing about everything. You must know. And that's why it starts with God. You must know God. You must know His words. You must know what God wants for your children, what God wants for you, what role you are supposed to be taking, or what role you are supposed to be, what role you are supposed to take in the life of each child that you have. Okay, attend seminars, listen to audio, watch things that equip you. Ignorance is not an excuse this day and age. When you seek knowledge, when you understand these things, you will know the language your children or your child speaks, both online and, when they are not online, because they speak different languages now. I give you an example. My daughter sucks her thumb, and we find a way at home to say don't do this. But I was in school one day, and her teacher, Miss Bomi, was telling me that in school they talk to her, don't put your thumb in your mouth. And left school that day, and I had been assuming that she's not up to 2, and I'd been assuming that she won't understand expressly, the words that I tell her, some words that I tell her. So I didn't know that I can actually tell her, don't put your tongue in your mouth, don't suck your tongue. So I decided to practice it. I sat beside her. Her dad was driving. I sat beside her at the back seat, and she put her tongue in her mouth, and I said, remove your tongue from your mouth. Hikayomi, remove your tongue from your mouth. And I was surprised. She heard, she understood, and she removed it. And then she watches me again, and she tries to put it. I'm talking about a child who is 1 year, 3 months. That is a long sentence. Do not put your tongue in your mouth. So for those of us who assume that until a child is a certain age, we cannot start to shape with words. And I was telling my husband, I said, you see why words are the best ways to influence a child. So, because, in fact, some days before, when you chastise her, stop that, she retracts from whatever it is that she's doing. She knows that you are talking to her, you are trying to discipline her. You see the expression, you see how she, coys, and I was shocked. I sometimes try to tell myself, this is a toddler. She just stopped being an infant. So you must understand the language that your child speaks. Online, offline. The children of this generation, of this century, are smart. They came with total, full, comprehensive package. And as a mother, you can't be ignorant. You've got to learn. I learned that. Even though I know that I should speak, I should talk to my child at whatever age, even as an infant, I should properly express myself and not assume they don't know. But when it came to the practical ways, I learned that from school. So at times I ask questions in school, ask other moms, ask other parents, and by the leading of God. That's why I'm emphasizing you're connected. By the leading of God, you know what is appropriate for your child. You take your child, situation, matters, positive, negative, into the place of prayer, into the place of communication with God. Right? So I talked about you gaining knowledge. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Knowledge that is being used is power. The 21st century mom, you need knowledge. You need we learned ABCD. That's not what you're learning now. So you cannot just leave your child strictly to handlers, nannies, teachers, instructors, and pay huge sum of money and forget it. Look, our children do not need presents. They need our presence. So time may not be time. These days, mothers don't have the luxury of time, but you can make time because your child is important. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be retired from whatever you're doing, and these children would have left our nest. The connection that we make today from when they are some minutes old through that time are the things that would matter. Build relationships with your children. The one that strikes me the most is that be sure that you as a mom, in whatever age that it is, please model the roles that you want your child to be. What am I saying? Be a role model. Be a role model. Don't be that mother that says, do as I say. You got to make sure that you are doing as you are saying, and so they can do as you are doing. Model prayer. Model connection with God. Model character. You can't be nasty to people and expect that your child would grow up, or your children will grow up with good character. Model what to wear. You can't excuse yourself as an adult, as a grown woman, from certain things and want your child to do otherwise. Whatever you're not going to eat, you won't smell it, and model that to your child. There are certain things I personally love, but because of certain roles I take up in the society and my place of work and my purpose, understanding my purpose in life, I chose not to do them. As long as, because I know that these things I can do without them. That is the depth of sacrifice we need to make as mothers, as parents. These are things we need to do. So, is it good? That is. So, I believe that with these few words of mine today, I've been able to inspire you. And I want to pray that for every mother in the house, God will cause you to reap the fruit of your labor. We will all not work in vain. Our children will turn out right by the grace of God. By the grace of God. God Himself would inspire us on how to take care of those children in the name of Jesus. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for listening to me. Have a wonderful, wonderful Mother's Day. Ciao.